Hello children, welcome to another class of maths today. Today we are going to continue with the topic of rational numbers, in which the next thing that we are going to start is irrational numbers. Before you start with this very part, I would request you to go to the previous videos where I have uploaded the topic of the rational numbers, so you can go through that before you start with this very part. Okay children, now let's study irrational numbers. What are irrational numbers? We can see that we are having some numbers written as 1.0, 110, 1110, 4 times 1, 0, 5 times 1, and dot 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 means this is going to go on. So is this a pattern like 2 times 1, then 3 times 1, then 4 times? Okay, I don't know. Let's talk about this one. 0.21, then 221, then 2221. You will say, huh sir, there is a pattern that a particular digit is repeating more than the previous number of time in successive decimal places. No, this is not a pattern. Over here we'll say that this is a successive increment of the digits is happening, but we have studied in the case of rational numbers are, even if they are non-terminating, but there has to be a repetition present. Recurring part has to be present, not non-recurring or non-repeating. Clear? That are not non-repeating, they are recurring even if they are non-terminating. So those comes under the category of the rational numbers, and these ones come under the category of irrational numbers. Now let's quickly study about in the form of numbers. So these were the decimal part. Every time it's not possible that we'll be having only the decimal part to see. What about these natural numbers, whole numbers? What about these ones? Let's see. Always remember, square root of every non-perfect square is going to be an irrational number. This is going to be an irrational number. That means under root 2, we know that the value is 1.4142 and so on. Under root 3, 1.732 and so on. So non-terminating and non-recurring. So that means these will be coming under the category of irrational numbers. What about under root 4? You will say, yes sir, under root is present, so it will be irrational number. No, we know that under root 4 can be written as 2 square, and which means power and power will get cancelled and we will be left with 2. So under root 4 can be simplified and can be written without the under root part, that is 2. So a root 4 is not an irrational number. Next come is 5. Again, 5 is not a perfect square, 6 is not, a 7 is not, 8 is not, 9 is a perfect square, so which can be written as 3. So therefore under root 9 is not an irrational number. Clear? Root 10. So every perfect square is going to be a rational number, and apart from that the remaining ones, under root or the square root of these numbers, are going to be irrational. Similarly, what about the cube roots? Again, the ones which are perfect cube, like 1, 8, 9, all these are the perfect cubes. So that means if we talk about the cube root of 2, this will be irrational, 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 irrational. What about cube root of 8? Cube root of 8 can be written as 2 into 2 into 2. This forms one group, one number will be taken out. So that means yes, cube root of 8 gives us a perfect cube. So that means cube root of 8 is not going to be an irrational number. Apart from these are going to be irrational number. Now a very common thing is that you must have taken up the value of pi to be as 22/7 in most of the chapters, in most of the exercises, or somewhere you might be given, instead of this value, you might be given as pi, take pi equal to 3.14 or 3.146 depending upon. Actually these two values are approximated values. The real values of pi when seen is going to be 3.141592653589793238 and so on in this way. So we have taken quite number of digits, but we cannot see any repetition of digit. Is there any recurring part present? No. So therefore pi is going to be an irrational number. Clear? So never consider the value of 22/7 to compare whether the pi is irrational or rational. If suppose you are given this value, yes, it is rational number. But whenever you have been simply given as pi, so you will be writing down that pi is an irrational numbers. Alright? Okay. Now let's see what are the different operations when applied to irrational numbers in the under root form or the surd form, and how do we solve them. Now what we have is 3 upon 2 into under root 2 whole square, and we have to simplify this. So how do we simplify? We normally do is that what we do is that we will apply this thing to everything present inside this bracket. We are having a number part and this under root, so this will be applied to the number part, that is 3 upon 2 whole square and as well as under root 2 whole square. So this when solved will be 9 by 4. And what about under root 2 square? Always remember, whenever we have to multiply this thing, what will happen? Both of them will be multiplied. Clear? Under root 4 and that will be 2. Either you can do it in this very manner, or what you can do is that whenever two under roots are same which are getting multiplied, so that means the number that is present will be the answer. So that means we'll write down multiply by 2 and this will get cancelled, so answer will be 9 by 2. Let's take up another case in which we have to have 5 plus under root 3 whole square. So again this will be applied to this as well as to this. No, we are having a plus b form. So whenever we are having a plus b form, we have already stated the identity, that is a plus b whole square will be equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. Same will go for minus case. If suppose we have been given 5 minus root 3 whole square, so that means it will be 5 plus root 3 whole square is going to be the square of 5. Most of you write down without the bracket. Whenever you are writing down or denoting the terms as a square form, you need to mention the bracket part. That is very important. Plus b. Again over here most of you will just write down square sign. No, you have to place a bracket and then write down those whole square. Plus 2 multiply by 5 multiply by root 3. Now let's solve. 5 square will be 25, under root 3 square will be 3, 2 into 5 10 under root 3. So 25 and 3 can be solved, so that will be equals to 28 plus 10 root 3. Now most of you will make mistake and you will add 28 and 10. No, this you can consider to be as a like term, and this can be added or subtracted to another term containing root 3 only. It can be multiplied by any number, any term. Maybe without the under root also it can be multiplied, but it can be added or subtracted to another term of root 3 only. Remember this thing. Just like we know that 2x cannot be added to x square, isn't it? 2x can be added or subtracted to a term of x only. Similarly, this root 3 can be added or subtracted to a term of root 3 only. So this will be your final answer. Alright children? Alright children. Now the next thing that we are going to study is rationalization. Now to study this, we need to have all these basic clear, that how can we solve with the under root thing, addition, subtraction. One thing more, if suppose we have to insert any irrational number between a number as root 13 and under root 17. So we know that after root 13 we have root 14 that exists, root 15 also that exists, root 16 also exists, but this is not an irrational number, so these two can be taken into account. Clear? So in this way we can write down the numbers existing between them and that we can fill up the places. Okay, now what does rationalization basically means? Rationalization basically means to get rid of the under root present in the denominator. That means if suppose we are having 5 by root 3, so we have to remove this root 3. Now how do we remove? We can write it down simply as 5. No. Always remember, we have a very basic rule that any operation applied to the numerator, multiplication, division applied to the numerator and the denominator, if we are applying, the answer will remain unchanged. So that means what are we going to do is that if this is 5 by root 3, so we will multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Under root 3, multiply and divide. So 5 into root 3 will be 5 root 3 and root 3 into root 3 will be 3. So yes, we have converted the under root part of the denominator into a number without the under root. So we have got rid of the denominator having the under root. So this is what is rationalization of, basically we can say that we have multiplied by the conjugate of it. We'll be taking the actual meaning of the conjugate when we are going to have more than one term existing in the denominator. So right now I hope this must be very clear to you. Let's take one more example. If suppose I am having c upon a root b. So that means what am I going to multiply? This will be multiplied by root b upon root b. This will not be multiplied by a root b. We know that that is not going to make any difference. A and a will get cancelled out. But the rationalization factor should be the least number. I'll tell you in the next question that what is actually means. So it will be c root b upon ab. Alright, okay, chalo. Now suppose I am having a number as 1 upon under root 12. Clear? We have to rationalize it. Now most of you will simply take and multiply by root 12 and divide by root 12. No. What are we supposed to do is that we will convert it into the lowest form. So root 12 can be written as 2 into 2 into 3. This forms one group. This will be taken out, so it will become 2 under root 3. So now what will be the rationalizing factor? Only the part having the denominator will be your rationalizing factor. So that means into root 3 upon root 3. So what is that going to be? 1 into root 3 will be 3 and 2 root 3 into root 3 will be 3. 3 into 2 will be 6. Now you will say that, sir, we can simplify. Yes, you can simplify, but again you are going to go back to the question present. But we had to get rid of the denominator with the under root, so that is what we have done. So now we are not having any denominator. If suppose we will be taking some questions in which even after rationalization we are left with the under root, again we will rationalize it. Clear? So we have to get rid of the denominator with the under root part. Okay, children. Now we are having 1 upon 2 root 5 minus root 3 which we have to rationalize. Now to rationalize, what we saw previously, that whatever is the number present in the denominator with the under root, we will multiply in the numerator and the denominator by the very same number. But what if we are having two terms present in the denominator? Then what are we supposed to do? Look into the sign existing between the two terms. What is the sign? Minus sign. So that means opposite of this sign will be plus sign and the two numbers stays as it is. Okay. So this is also known as conjugate, or we can say basically the rationalizing factor. Clear? Rationalizing factor. So that means we multiply the numerator as well as the denominator by its conjugate present, and same will be in the numerator, same will be multiplied in the denominator. If suppose here is a plus, so minus will be the conjugate, and then we'll multiply minus with the numerator part and minus with the denominator part. Alright, 1 multiplied by any number, any bracket will be the number itself or the bracket itself, so we'll be left with this very thing coming up in the numerator. Now look into the denominator, a minus b into a plus b, isn't it? We have an identity that we can apply, so it will be written as 2 root 5 whole square minus root 3 whole square. So now this will be 2 root 5 plus root 3 upon 2 root 5 whole square. So whenever we are having such a thing, square the number part before the under root, so that will become 4, and square of the root 5 will be 5, so 4 into 5 20. Alright, then similarly root 3 square will be 3, which on solving, what are we going to obtain? 2 root 5 plus root 3 upon 17. Are we having that denominator with the under root? No. So yes, this will be our final answer. Alright. Okay, children. Let's take up another question in which we are having 3 plus root 2 upon 3 minus root 2 is equals to a plus b root 2. This is question number 13 of exercise 1D. Alright, now we are having this thing to calculate the values for a and b. So copy down this thing, that is 3 plus root 2 upon 3 minus root 2. Find out the number on the denominator, 3 minus root 2. So conjugate of this will be opposite of this sign. What is the sign? Minus. So that means opposite of this sign will be 3 plus. So 3 plus root 2 will be multiplied in the numerator, as well as 3 plus root 2 will be multiplied in the denominator. Now in the numerator, if you look, a plus b into a plus b, isn't it? 3 plus root 2 into 3 plus root 2. So which can be written as 3 plus root 2 whole square upon, in the denominator, a minus b into a plus b. Correct, again identity, a square minus b square, which can be written as 3 square minus under root of 2 square. So now we can apply and expand the numerator. So that will be 9, that is a square, plus b square, so that will be 2, plus 2ab. So 2 into 3 into 2, so that will be 6 root 2 upon 9 minus 2. Fine, alright. You can pause the video to go through. What we have done is that a plus b into a plus b, I have written a plus b whole square and then expanded in the numerator. And similarly, a minus b into a plus b, a square minus b square, I have applied the identity. Alright, so it will be 9 plus 2, 11, plus 6 root 2 upon 9 minus 2, that will be 7. Okay. Alright, over here you will have to write down what is your rationalizing factor, that is 3 plus root 2. Which identity you are applying? I am applying a plus b whole square, so a square plus b square plus 2ab, you need to write down a square minus b square, so you need to write down a square minus b square is a plus b into a minus b. Alright, okay, now separate out the terms. So that means it can be written as 11 upon 7 plus 6 root 2 upon 7, and comparing with the right hand side, what is the thing given to us? A plus b under root 2, isn't it? Let's compare. So that is why I have separated. The number part will be compared with the number, and the under root 1 will be compared with the under root. So that means a will be equal to 11 by 7 and b under root 2 will be equal to 6 root 2 upon 7. So root 2 and root 2 will get cancelled out. B will be equal to 6 by 7. Okay, continuing, let's take our next question. If x is equal to 3 plus root 8, find out the value of x square plus 1 upon x square. X square is to be calculated, 1 upon x square is to be calculated. So can I say that 1 upon x will be equal, 1 upon x square will be equal to 1 upon x whole square, isn't it? Which can be written as, now what is x? X is given as this, so can I write it down to be as this thing, isn't it? Alright, okay, now let's take up the question. So question is x square plus 1 upon x square, so that means it is 3 plus root 8 whole square plus 1 upon 3 plus root 8 whole square, isn't it? Alright, now before I expand this thing, this so I can easily expand, most of you will start expanding this also. Always remember, whenever we are having under root in the denominator, whether it is a square given or not, get rid of that. Getting rid of that, that means rationalize it simply. So 3 plus root 8 whole square, and over here inside the bracket we will rationalize. So conjugate of this will be 3 minus root 8 upon 3 minus root 8. So that means it will be 3 plus root 8 whole square plus over here 1 into 3 minus root 8 will be 3 minus root 8 upon a plus b into a minus b. So that will be a square. I'm writing it directly, but you need to show. And root 8 whole square, that will be 8. So 9 minus 8 and whole square. So that means it will be 3 plus root 8 whole square plus, what am I left with? I'm left with 3 minus root 8 upon 1 whole square. Now this is easy to expand, or this one having 3 terms coming in the denominator, and even if we take the LCM again, there will be 3 terms in the left in the denominator. So that is why whenever we are having anything 1 upon form with the under root, rationalize it to get rid of the denominator. Now let's apply a plus b whole square, a square b square plus 2ab, a minus b whole square, a square b square minus 2ab. Yes, there are like terms which can be cancelled out, isn't it? Okay, now let's solve. 9 plus 9 18, 18 and 8 26 and 8 34. So your answer will be 34, the value of x square plus 1 upon x square. Alright children. Okay, let's take one more question. Alright children, now I'm having this very equation, 1 upon 1 plus root 5 plus root 3. Let's rationalize. So whenever we are having three terms, we have studied about two terms, not three terms. Do one thing, group in two of the terms to be as one term and separate out one of the last term to be as, you can rearrange also, it depends upon you, it doesn't matter. So multiply its conjugate will be 1 plus root 5 minus root 3 in the numerator as well in the denominator. So 1 multiplied by this thing will be copied down as it is. Now a plus b into a minus b, so it will be a square minus b square, that is because 1 plus root 5 I have made the same part in both the terms. So now it will be as it is, and over here a plus b whole square will be implemented, so it will be a square plus b square plus 2ab and minus of root 3 whole square will be 3. So again, now what am I obtaining is 3 plus 2 root 5. Again I am getting under root part. So what I have seen, what we have discussed is that we should not be having any under root existing. So multiply by its conjugate again in the numerator and the denominator. Multiply. Now we are having three terms and two terms. Like simply algebra solving, first bracket first term into both the terms of the second bracket, first bracket second term both the terms of the second bracket. So in this way we will be obtaining all these three terms upon the denominator a plus b into a minus b, a square minus b square. Now solve the like term, that is 3 minus 10 minus 7 minus 2 root 5 plus 3 root 5 will be root 5. 1 root 5 though we do not write on 1, and this will be copied down as it is, upon 9 minus 20 will give us minus 11. Now we know that minus 11 can be taken out and solved with a minus sign, so taking out minus sign common will be left with sin 7 minus root 5 plus 3 root 3 and plus 2 root 15. So minus and minus will get cancelled, so this will be the final thing that we are going to be left from this. So over here whenever we are having three questions, you will notice that we will have to rationalize it twice. So no way the question would ever say that rationalize twice or thrice. We will have to see and examine that are we having a term left in the denominator with the under root present or not. If not, that will be the final answer. If it is having, so yes, we'll have to rationalize. Alright children, that's it for the day. So go through this, now do the equations. I'll provide you the assignment soon, and then you can start with the homework in the fair register. Be very particular with the homework and the work that has been given, not only in my subject, in every other subject. Be very particular. Alright, okay children, bye bye. Stay home, stay safe.